Hi, I'm Todd Heitkamp, the owner of Dakota Angler here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, with this week's 2-minute fishing report. Well, folks, it definitely feels like we've entered the dog days of summer with the heat and also the lakes greening up. That has kind of impacted fishing a little bit because mainly the methodology that a lot of people are using hasn't really produced some results. Now remember, just because it's gotten hotter and the water temperatures have risen, doesn't mean that the fish go deeper all the time. It really depends on the lakes, and especially one that has a lot of weed growth. So if you have a lake and you're fishing a lake that has a lot of weed growth, concentrate on that right away before you go out to the deeps. Pull along the weed edge. Maybe throw some plugs, plastics into those weeds to see if you actually come out with some fish. So again, keep that in mind as you head forward into this next week. Now, the lakes that produce walleyes up in the northeast the past week include Bitter, Wabe, Dry Lake by Clark, Clear Lake, also Opitz, Bullhead, Round, Indian Springs, Enemy Swim, Reed, as well as Reeds, and then also North and South Rush. Now, not all of them produced a lot of walleyes. It was hit and miss on all those lakes that I mentioned. Down the southeast, those lakes include Ponset, Thompson, Albert, Dry Lake by Willow Lake, Sinai, 81 ponds, and with 81 being flooded, you need to come in from the west side on the gravel road. And then also Campbell, Island, Madison, Twin, and then Vermilion. Now the Missouri River, that's really been the story the past, the past month, quite honestly. But now it seems like you go north of Fort Thompson, or Pierre north, or then also the Platte area has really produced some nice walleyes. The better quality walleyes are, let's say Pierre up in the Mulbridge area, the really nice, let's say 2011 type of walleyes, if you can remember that. Now, what have guys been doing to catch these walleyes? It's kind of been switching now. A lot of guys now are switching over to pulling plugs. Whether or not, depending on the lake, the river, and determining the plug that you're going to use. And then also a lot of people are using bottom bouncing with spinners and crawlers. Whether or not you're using the slow depth or the traditional crawler harness really hasn't mattered much. And then as far as the panfish bite is concerned, the heat's really definitely impacted that. But as far as perch being concerned, Bitter, Ponset, Thompson, as well as Dry Lake by Willow Lake produced a few perch. And then the crappie, a few guys were catching crappie at Thompson, Ponset, as well as Sinai. And mainly how guys are catching them is with, as far as bait is concerned, small minnows, and then also small redworms. In this week's version of Todd's Tackle Tips, we're going to talk about pulling plugs. And we've talked about it in years past, but we're going to talk about it now because obviously with the heat and the warmer water temperatures, a lot of people are shifting their techniques to pulling plugs, whether or not you're using monofilament or fireline or some type of braid or even lead core. Really what it comes down to is making sure you have the right equipment. The first thing that you need to have to make sure that you're consistently in that strike zone is to have a line counter. That will definitely help you determine how much line you need to let out to be a certain depth depending on the plug that you use. So that's the next thing, is what kind of crankbaits are you going to use? A lot of people swear by Rapala or Berkeley, the flicker shads, or the Salmos. It doesn't matter. You need to know how deep that plug will go, rated on 10-pound monofilament, and most of them will have that markings on the package on the outside. It will tell you how deep it will go without any other additional assistance. Now, what assistance am I talking about? The speed on which you're trolling, and then also the amount of line that you let out. So those are the things that you need to keep in mind. First off, make sure you pick the plug out that is appropriate for the depth that you want to fish. And then the second thing is, find out how much line you need to let out to get that plug into the strike zone. And the way you can do that is looking at the depth charts, the diving charts. And a lot of those diving charts may be on the back side of the plug itself, like in some of the Berkeleys, or also you can get the Precision Trolling app on your phone, or what we used to call a trolling Bible. It's no longer available, but you might find versions of that online. That is going to be perfect for you, especially for your first-time users of pulling plugs with line counters. So again, the key is making sure that you have the right equipment. Number one, line counter reels and rods, and then also what type of line you're going to use, and then the type of plug for the presentation in the depth that you want to be at. Now, the thing that we're going to talk about at the very end is the trolling week that we have going on here at Dakota Angler. You don't want to miss that, because now's the time to get the equipment that you need. Now it's time to take a look at a few photos that you sent in to me this past week. And remember, folks, if you'd like your photo included in next week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report, please send it to me. Send it to todd@dakotaangler.com or post it to our Facebook wall. And if I use your photo, your name will be entered into a monthly drawing for a $25 gift certificate. And folks, as I mentioned in Todd's Tackle Tips, it's trolling week here at Dakota Angler. And what does that mean? Well, 25% off on all line counter reels, line counter rods, trolling rods, as well as trolling combos. Stop on by. If you're looking to break into, pulling plugs and using line counter reels, now's the time to take advantage of these great prices during trolling week here at Dakota Angler. And you can also take advantage of it online and use the code LC, that's LC, at checkout to get that 25% discount. Well, folks, that's this week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report. For Dakota Angler, I'm the owner, Todd Heitkamp, and as we say around here, fish on! We'll see you again, and again, thanks for watching.